Sup again, guys? It's Stanky here. I'm back from holiday. Sorry, I've been away for a couple of weeks on holiday in the Gold Coast, but I'm back and doing a analysis of Bulldog, the Bulldonger. So he picked Brood here into Sven, which is a little bit weird. Sven co-op like this, and Sam, they're all reasonably good for clearing broodlings, but Sven, I guess, more so a little bit late game. You think he'd be good initially, but you can still kill him early game. But Oracle's not great. But the main thing I wanted to look at Bulldog was his laning phase. Like, I know he's got really good late game, but you know, with like his his focus on sort of taking buildings and ability to split push and focus on objectives. But I just really wanted to see how he played the laning phase. So we're going to go ahead and do that in this game. So he hasn't actually bought any sentries or got any bought for himself. He's got tangos, but I know some people like to buy a set of sentries or get given sentries from their team and then get a quelling or just tangos so that they can try to de-ward, but he seems to just completely ignore the whole idea of getting rid of their sentries and just plays as if they can see him the whole time, for the most part. And what he's doing here is he's got this early whip up, and it's just interesting to see his whip positioning. Like, normally I would probably place them up and down in the lane, but he has more of a focus on actually being able to get in and around this space where the supports will be. So he's clicked on their items and seen what they have, and he waits for them to go away so that he can ward without them seeing him warding. So they don't actually see this ward. I think they place their D-wards over here. Well, they place their sentries more to try to see him, but at least they try to actually see the ward. So that's sort of sort of a good place to get placed at, I guess. If you're playing Brood, you don't really want to try to go for this position over here with the ward, because it's more likely to get de-warded accidentally, and it's out of the range of this as well. So I guess that's probably more of a mistake by him. I probably would have positioned that more to the right, because thinking that, you know, like, it's missing the spot just. But anyway, let's get back to him. So he's staying out of the lane. He's just staying very well hidden. He's gone when trying to get his level 2 so he can get spiderlings, and he just plays it from the back. So he just hides in the trees and throws out these spiderlings to try to get the last hits and start amassing an army of little broodlings or spiderlings or whatever you call them. Runs it in to try to get the last hit, or at least get an attack off, so when it dies he gets another one. He's not going for denies because he doesn't actually have a web here for his spiders to run quickly on or to be able to hide in. He's trying to stay in the trees so he doesn't get his clarity cancelled. The starting items are quite important also. So he didn't buy the stage mask. He bought that like with his early tick money, so the money that ticked over. He bought the Soul Ring recipe, tangos, and a clarity. I don't know if he bought the Ob Sword as well. So having this little broodling army sort of stops them from being able to come down and find him with a sentry and trade with him and push him out of the lane. So getting this early level 2 is really important. And they allowed him to get that, which is, I guess, the big mistake on their behalf. And this whole time, these spiderlings are just attacking this dude. If you watch, like, he's right-clicked them on him, and even though he's backing up and not looking, they're still attacking him the whole time. He's charging this, they're still attacking. And then what he does here is really interesting. He spawns the spiderweb, but something I'd forgotten, which was a buff to Brood he got recently. Sorry for starting and stopping all the time, but it makes sense in my head. Hopefully you can follow. But there's a buff to spin web, so you can actually make spiderwebs, spin webs off the chain of your other ones. So the actual range is only to here, but I'm pointing on my screen, it's only to the end of that green circle, but he summoned it above that because it connects with his other webs. So spawning that web up here gave enough movement speed to the spiderlings to be able to chase him down and get the kill. So you can actually cast those from a distance. I don't know why that's being all weird. Yeah, a spin web can be cast from anywhere as long as the new web touches an existing web. There you go. So some little minor mechanical details, but they can be very important. Just shows how, like, you know, players like Bulldog and these AoE and these professional players that have really high mechanical knowledge can it's actually, you know, a big part of being good at Dota. These little scenarios where someone else who didn't know that would miss out on a kill. So he's gone for the early Soul Ring, and I think he picks up, yeah, Sage's Mask here just to help with regen. And then he gets boots of speed next. He's seen them come in and find him here. They cast a slow on the spiderlings instead of on him, which I guess is fair enough. They're trying to clear the spiders away, but not the best micro, I guess. So he doesn't panic here and cast another web down the bottom. He just sort of backs up and waits for them to leave, because otherwise you have to, you know, cancel and resummon your webs and you lose the cooldown and that. So again, he's playing like they can see him the whole time. So when they come around here, he just shuffles off to the left. He's not trying to like go up and hide in the trees or think he's invisible the whole time. He's playing very safely and just jumping in and out to get his spawn spiderlings off. In his skill build, I don't know if you noticed, but he went 1 point spiderlings, then he went 2 points in webs because he was a bit low on health, and it helps regen and gets you those extra 4 webs, which are really important for laning phase. So 2 isn't quite enough to get them everywhere you want them, and now he's maxing spiderlings. Here you go, he'll pick up another point in web at level 6. Generally you don't go ultimate at level 6 because it's more important to get the move speed and regen from, and the extra webs, but more so the regen from increasing the web levels, and the spiderling levels are really important as well. So he's taking a little bit of damage on his spiderlings, but they're regenning back up in the web as well, and he's just using them to harass the CM here. So you don't have to dive the whole tower with them. Like I see some lower players will just like right click them on him and let them go in and die and tank tower damage, and then he can nova them and maybe clear some, but you just chip them, keep them away, get him low, and then eventually if you keep getting him lower and lower you can go for a kill after a while. So he does it again there, just gets a little chip shot off. They try to kill them, so he backs up, lets them regen, goes back in for another chip shot, backs them up. And now he's got another level in his spider webs, and he's placing them further around to the right hand side here to start sort of creeping around with his webs behind the tower. Trying to kill the range creep, good words. Notices an opportunity here to kill the Oracle, who gets overcommitted. I wonder what the armor is on these two heroes. I don't actually know. He's actually got higher armor than CM, but he has 40 less health. Oh, well, he's 40 less max health anyway. So he's a good target. But yeah, the spiderlings does quite a bit of damage, so you can actually, if you've got the mana, you can just use it to chip. Like you can just throw your spiderlings at them and then throw a spine at your Q at one of them to get their health down a bit, so they're at sort of 2/3 health, and then next time you want to go in and kill them, you might be able to get them with the second wave. And he's jostling back and taking this camp. So like this is a camp that the safe lane really wants to be farming, but if you can sort of take over the off lane as a brood, you can take these camps away from them and farm them for yourself. So it's actually stealing their farm from the jungle. So like Aoi talks about this in his videos, but when you farm the enemy's jungle, it's sort of worth double as much, because that's farm that they could have had, and now you're getting it, so it's a double swing. And now he starts backlaning here, but he's not committing to the wave, so what a lot of people might do is just go in the wave and start attacking it, but he's sort of staying in the trees, staying out of vision, and just attacking with the spiderlings. And that sort of serves two purposes. It means he's safer when he's trying to safer from ganks, so like if the CM and that happen to be hiding nearby and they're going to come in with the dust and try to kill him, they can't, right, because he's just hiding in the trees. And also it keeps him off the map, so the spiderlings are there but they don't know where he is. Like he could be sitting in here, like about to go on the sphere, or he could have rotated middle or something, like could be jungling. It just leaves a bit more indecision in the enemy. And now he rushes a Dagon here, and you might think this is some sort of like noob pubby strat and he's just being Bulldog fucking around, which is probably true, but it's also a legitimate build on Brood, and I think Zai did it in, I can't remember if it was TI, when he was playing for Secret, and did insanely well. Like the Blink Dagon E-Blade Brood, and I think it was post-nerf as well. It was after the nerfs that were aimed towards Tinker, but indirectly nerfed other heroes that build E-Blade Dagon. So I think it's still a viable way to play Brood, especially against these sort of squishy heroes. Like you can pick off a CM or a Quap. Like when some of their cores are killable with Dagon, especially their mid, it's really a legitimate way to play. So this like is a really aggressive play, but he actually, I thought they would have died there. Did he not use Screamer? He did, just didn't kill him. Okay, so they can tank a Sonic Wave, sorry, not Sonic Wave, they can tank a Scream of Pain. Wow, he hasn't actually leveled Sonic Wave yet, but it's unlikely that he's going to commit his ultimate to kill the Spiderlings. So he can tank one wave of Scream of Pain on his spiders and then use them to get the Oracle down low enough to kill him. Let's see where he's gone. He's still hiding in the bushes here. Just jumping in and out. Cotton ulti level 7, yeah. Oh, he's found him. Gets a little bit overcommitted here. Gets saved by Oracle. So he's had a good start to the early game, but you know he's died, and this is still like a potentially losable game, right? So it's not like he's at a point where he's going, you know, building Dagon is completely irrelevant. Like if you're going some clowny build, it's not like he's that far ahead that what he does is irrelevant, or what he builds is irrelevant. It's still important what he goes. So this is an interesting decision. So I would have run here and pushed out the top wave, but he's just going to go farm the enemy jungle. I guess because a lot of the team are bottom and the Sven's top. So this is like a relatively safe place to farm. It's same again, you're taking away their camps. So if the Sven thinks he's unsafe top and decides to come back, he's going to come find these camps are empty, and it's taking away his farm. And now this is like Zai's little move that he popularized, which is the roaming mid with Brood, with Spin Web, but I guess more what he would do is have his webs up there and you make a chain of them, which I can't draw when I'm on player perspective. Make a chain of them down sort of through here into the mid lane. But Bulldog's kind of gone a different way. So he came from the rune. This is something really annoying with the Spiderlings when they get stuck around trees. Like the web is inside the tree, but they have to be invisible to actually get into them. Happens to me all the time. That's a minor thing, but important. When you're farming jungle camps that have abilities, you can dodge them. Like send in a few of your Spiderlings first to take the centaur stun, and then attack yourself. So the way it works, if you don't know, is if there's as soon as there's 3 units within his range, he'll stun them. So I'm sure everybody knows that, but there's a range of people that watch my videos. So. He's trying to split up the Spiderlings so they don't die. I'm not quite sure what he's doing here. And then this is a really aggressive move. I think he just sort of thinks he can get a quick pick on him, which he can, but this wasn't expecting to see him to be there. But he dropped an ultimate, so it's like something, I guess. Create some space, get an ultimate cooldown. And now he's back. And it's a really interesting way to farm. Leaves your jungle open, causes a bit of disruption in the enemy team, takes away their farm, and it's pretty safe really, right? Like if you don't overcommit, you're up on that cliff, and if you see anyone you can just back up straight over it and they have to walk a really long distance around that cliff to get to you. He dodged the dust. And just back to farming, and he might go try to pressure this top lane here. Yeah. Should try to backlane the creeps with the Spiderlings, but I guess it's not really that relevant because the tower's going to die anyway. I need to focus more on getting tower last hits. I have been in my last few, several games, but whoa, this is scary. Get out. Whoa, that's aggressive. So we had the Spiderlings on him here, so he just right clicked them and he goes for the throw Dagon, hoping that they'll be able to follow up and kill him, but they get stunned by Sven. So he doesn't die. The team doesn't die. Hello. So it's a good cleanup. Sorry, the wife just came home. So this is a really good sort of mid-game scenario for them. They're getting a lot of towers that come out ahead in the lanes, and they're way ahead on farm. So like I said, I think the laning phase is the main thing we're going to see in this game. It doesn't really go to like a late game scenario where he has to win by split pushing or doing anything fancy. I think they're just going to snowball their lead into a win, but I think the laning phase is really what I was looking to learn from him, because Brood is quite a hard hero to play. You see a lot of people stuff it up and he can be the kind of hero when you go into the offlane that either crushes or is just completely ineffective, and I think it's not always about the matchup, it's more about how you play it. So yeah, this is just going to be a snowball victory, so I think we'll leave it there. For those of you that are newer, I picked up a fair few subs from my last videos, but I do a sort of variety of videos on here. I don't just do analysis of pro players, although that seems to be what people enjoy more, but I'm still looking to do some of my own videos and analysis of my own gameplay and of lower MMR people's gameplay, so I'll get subs or people that request and do their gameplay sometimes. But yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.